Of course, I would never wink dose Kenyon with mescaline.
I got nothing.
You're barren.
You're raw dogging life.
I am.
Oh no.
You're raw dogging your mouth.
I'm so thirsty. Okay. What I'm hearing is a lot of
work.
and I need a little bit of
Fun. Quote, John
dead
Gale.
heads were dead and without a head.
Pretty much.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, funny that you should say without a head.
What?
God.
What?
Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh,
Yeah.
And adjust their cameras.
it's the most Minnesota day at 80 plus degrees with still frozen lakes and snow mounds that have not yet melted.
Snow and ice is nature's perfect insulator.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Real weird out there right now. Not
Yeah.
a single hint of green anywhere, but it is so hot. It's so scary.
Up. I don't like that one bit.
That, like, there aren't even buds on the trees yet. It was 30 degrees and we had 20 feet of snow, and then it was 80 degrees. That was it. Anyway, who
no
are
thanks.
we?
No.
Minnesota's fine. She's
No.
fine. We're fine.
I'm Kenyon.
Yeah.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda.
Well, if you're
I'm
sick
scared.
of living in Minnesota, you could always join a commune.
Oh, the
Because
way I've thought about it,
you are susceptible.
I'm so susceptible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So susceptible.
I'm not
get
a
to it.
joiner, so I am not susceptible.
I mean, I'm
I'd
both
start
susceptible
one.
as a joiner and a leader. I check a lot
Kenyon
of
can't,
boxes.
like, sit on grass.
No.
I don't
I'd
think
have to-
communes would be.
Well, the leader doesn't have to do a lot of the shit.
But the whole point of a
Usually.
commune is that there's not really supposed to be a leader. Everyone
But
sits on
there
the
is.
grass. Oh, yeah, of course there is, because it is a
But
slippery
there
slope
is.
into cults,
Yeah.
which, as
All right.
we will discuss.
Oh,
we will
I'm
get
sure.
to it.
I'm
But first, this topic of criminal communes is brought to you by our fan picker, Jordan Wilson.
Oh, such a special fan picker.
This is a great one. You know, we've covered some cults in the past and some commune adjacent stuff, but it's always fun to dive in and find other ones that we haven't covered yet.
Yeah,
Something
and
new.
there are so many.
There are
Oh, yeah.
plenty.
Yeah. I got one that's still going.
Luck.
Me too.
Thriving.
Well, we'll get to it.
All right, first, let's do our wine crime pairing, Amanda, for criminal communes.
Y'all, our wine crime pairing this week hails from Italia and is actually cold because I remembered to put it in the fridge. I am
What?
thriving today.
Oh my God, that vitamin D is really helping.
Y'all, I took my inaugural,
The brain.
oh my God, my inaugural scooter ride today.
You did.
Ready
Amongst
to-
the snowdrifts.
Oh yeah, ready to
Weaving
pour,
in and out.
Yep. Ready to
Sloshing.
pour my Zoloft down the toilet.
Don't do
I
that.
am healed.
Do not do that.
Of course I wouldn't
I know.
do that.
I'm speaking mainly to
But
the listeners.
My God, the
You'll
way
get
that
very irritable.
the way that 1 ounce of vitamin D just blasts my body full of serotonin, and it's amazing. So
Do you
just-
have a sad lamp?
I do, but it doesn't do it.
It is not the same
It
as
is not the
nature.
same. No, it does not have the same effect.
You need the smell. You need the wind. You need the snowdrifts.
Ugh.
You need
Yeah.
the mud.
You need the avoiding potholes
The
on
squelch
38th
sound
Street.
under
and
your boots.
the squelch.
need 70 detours to go a half a mile because there's construction fucking everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Don't ruin
Midwest,
this for
baby.
me. Anyway,
Spring's great.
it's amazing. So I am drinking the Luna Nuda Pinot Grigio,
Ooh, naked
which I found,
moon?
yes, I found to be a perfect pairing because it reminded me of a nudist commune colony.
Love it. Good.
Much like the nudist colony Lucy and I accidentally found ourselves
Happened
barreling
upon.
into in a Penske rental truck, a bright orange yellow truck, to see the roadside attraction giant lady leg sundial.
I have that postcard. Should I grab it? I know exactly where it's at.
Go grab it. And I didn't realize it was still an active nudist colony. And so as we barreled into the front, there was just penis, elder penis, just every communal
Scattered.
elder penis. And I screamed and just turned around and started to leave because I panicked. And Lucy was like, we made it all this way. Get the fuck back in there. Oh, isn't it gorgeous?
Clothing is optional, but the fun is guaranteed.
Correct.
Oh, I love that.
And no, it does not account for daylight saving time. That was my first and only question.
Immediate question. She was ready.
It'd
So
be
that
funny
was-
if they could just like turn a crank and the leg moved for daylight
Just an
saving,
hour.
just a little bit wider.
It should be on a crank.
I don't think that's how like the
Spread
sun
'em.
works.
Spread them. Crank it. It's daylight savings. Time to crank the leg.
Howie, get the crank.
Yep. This is also
That time again.
It's that time again.
Is it October already?
Get the crank. Spreader. This is also a perfect pairing for discussing communes because, as the label states, quote, our wine celebrates the mystery and influence the moon has on winemaking with the firm belief that the Luna Nuda, or naked moon, was a time to toast with friends and family.
When isn't a time to toast with friends and family, I ask you?
Accurate.
A full moon
Accurate.
is the best time.
I'm here for it. So this is a 100% Pinot Grigio from Italia. It's a state-grown, hand-picked, and hand-sorted in Italy's Alto Adige Valley at Castelfeder Winery. It's bright, it's crisp, and has flavors of golden delicious apples, citrus. It's like the spring summer herald of Pinot Grigio. I am so excited, but it's balanced. It's not too sweet. It's balanced with a hint of alpine air minerality.
Ooh.
And it's,
Hell
you
yeah.
know, it's Pinot Grigio, so it's going to be nice and acidic, which is also great. This has flavors that embody the terroir of Italy's northernmost wine growing region. She's 12.5% ABV, and she's a cracker.
Perfect for spring.
So
Little
perfect.
picnic wine.
Yeah. Shall we crack?
Do
Let's.
Here we go.
Ooh.
Oh,
Nice crack.
Nice.
very.
Oh, yeah.
Completely forgot to bring a beverage up here. I don't even have water right now, so I will suffer through Lucy's
Honey.
segment, and then I will go hydrate myself.
I will suffer.
We always suffer through my segment.
No. That's not what I meant. I just meant without a beverage. Without a bevy.
Cheers, everyone. Look how healthy this pour is.
That
Oh, yeah.
looks delicious.
That's a holiday pour.
Easter was last weekend.
That's right.
She is risen.
He is good. I saw a I said this all day on Sunday, but I saw this on a TikTok. I can't take credit, but it was like, let's acknowledge, you know, the real reason for the season, the man who made this holiday possible, to Judas.
I saw something where it was like the real Easter bunny or something with like some play on the Easter eggs thing, and it was just Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Anyway.
pay any attention to
I
any
don't get
Easter type thing.
She leaves like Easter eggs, like hidden signals
Oh.
and like messages and clues and all her shit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm not a Swiftie.
Also,
Oh,
R.I.P.
that's
to
not-
Taylor and whatever his name was.
I'm so happy that they broke up.
Weren't they together for like 6 years or
Yes,
something?
And
Oof.
I hope she's doing well. But he is not on her level. He's not
Okay.
cute.
You know
I
what?
don't like
Congratulations to her because it's time for bigger and better things.
Yes.
She's got adorable cats, though.
She's adorable.
I do know that.
God
All right.
bless. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To our
Fucking
Taylor Swift
good, by the way.
/ belated Easter podcast.
To our Easter podcast.
Join us every year for our 4-week late Easter podcast.
Our hot takes on Easter. Oh, yeah, shit. This is definitely not coming out the week after Easter. We're fine. It's fine.
All right, cheers.
Shut up. It's fine. It's fucking fine.
Lucy, what's our background and my God, psych for Criminal Communes?
Please, Jesus, Skype. I mean, psych. Oh, my God.
Skype.
I'm just going to sit quietly and drink my wine.
We're
The
thriving.
best.
Okay.
I'm so unwell, you guys.
This is fun. Maybe it's because you threw out your Lexapro.
I didn't actually.
Okay. From my lover, Encyclopedia Britannica. A commune, as a social enterprise, is a group of people living together who hold property in common and live according to a set of principles usually arrived at or endorsed by the group itself.
Mm-hmm.
This term is closely related to utopian socialism, which was established in modern times, like as specifically within the modern term.
Utopian socialism.
Yeah. So this was established by many people, including Robert Dale Owen and Fanny Wright. They were both Scottish Americans. I thought that was interesting that they both came over from Scotland.
Cute.
Fanny, frickin' badass. I'm sure she's problematic somehow, but she was orphaned at a very early age, like 2, and her parents were super rich, so she got a shitload of money. She used it to travel around and learn and lecture about really revolutionary things at the time, like birth control, divorce,
Hot.
and also helping to relocate and educate emancipated Black Americans. So she built a commune in Haiti and helped people who were recently
Emancipated.
go to Haiti and like start fresh.
Right. Rebuild
like
their
a-
life.
Like a touch problematic there just because it was out of the country, but sure.
Well, yeah, this was also in like the late 1800s.
Yeah. Progressive fish for the time and no one's perfect.
Right.
And also,
Right.
they probably didn't want to stay in the fucking U.S.
Although they likely
Right.
couldn't for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So kind of cool. She also converted a New York City church that was on, what's it called? Broome Street.
Okay.
It's like a big, pretty prominent New York City church into a hall of science, which I love.
Cool.
I think I've walked past that building. I think there's like a sign in the window where it's like, this is the home of there's also like transcendentalist stuff
Probably.
related.
Probably. It was around that same kind of time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this utopian stuff definitely fed into
Blended
the
in.
transcendentalism that we've talked about.
Oh,
in
we'll
a
get
fairly
to it
recent
in my
episode.
case.
Great.
Ooh, okay.
I went hard on the like 60s commune
Mhm.
shit.
That was peak commune days in
Truly.
the U.S.
Truly.
So these two and many others led to
My blood sugar's low, so I'm snacking on these Triscuits. Everybody calm down.
Okay.
Okay, listeners, before you at me, I have a condition that requires snacks.
And I'm just straight up eating a poke bowl when I'm not speaking.
Yum.
I'm so hungry. Okay. So
I'm
they
just out here. It's a food desert in my office.
And
I'm
wine.
struggling.
You really fucked up this week.
I
nutrition
did.
desert.
Usually I have a backup bottle of water up here. I got nothing.
You're barren.
You're raw dogging life.
I am.
Oh, no.
You're raw dogging your mouth.
I'm so thirsty. Okay.
Okay. They and others led to experimental communities of this sort in the early 19th century in Britain and in the U.S., including New Harmony, Brook Farm, and the Oneida community, which were really
Fifth
prevalent.
Harmony.
Were really prevalent communes in this time in the U.S. Many communes were inspired by religious principles, and monastic life is essentially communal.
Mm-hmm.
Behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner's novel Walden 2, which was published in 1948, inspired many American...
Fast and the Furious 8. Walden 2.
Walden 2, Vermont Drift.
Holy shit! That's so good! Oh, sign me the fuck.
So I think the book cover for Walden 2, Vermont Drift.
B.F. Skinner. So this novel, which by today's standards would be science fiction, but science fiction wasn't really a genre until a little bit later.
Sure.
It inspired many American attempts at communal living, especially in the late 60s and early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Utopian settlements were also attempted by religious groups such as the Mennonites, the Shakers, and the Mormons.
Mm-hmm.
So technically those are also communes.
Yeah.
Were the Shakers the ones where it was no sex, so the only way they could like create new Shakers was to like take in orphans? I think.
Don't know.
I think
That
so.
sounds really boring.
You would not do well in any
Sign
of
me
these
out.
cults. Yeah.
When I
As
think
they
of
say.
Shakers, I just think of like wooden rocking chairs. That's the extent of not even my knowledge of Shakerdom, but like my
That's what
perception.
I think of when I think of the Amish.
My entirely inaccurate perception
They're
of
similar.
Shakers.
There's a through line, I think, with the Amish. I don't know. I'm making up most of this as we go.
Great.
Weren't they called Shakers because they get possessed by the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit and they shake?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
So that
We
sounds
talked about
fun,
that.
but how you do that and not have
sounds fun.
sex?
I think it was very separate, like separated by the genders, by the sexes, and they were not supposed to have sex. I think.
Lame.
I'm gonna
Okay.
Google it.
Boo.
Keep going.
Boo.
Shakers, no sex? Question mark.
No sex in the shaker room.
Punctuation doesn't matter in a Google search.
Shakers were celibate.
All right.
Procreation was forbidden.
Movers and shakers.
Children were added to the communities through indenture, fun,
Oh, great.
adoption, or conversion.
Loving
Right.
that process.
Yep. Shakers. This is a salon.com article. The Shakers, the ones who made furniture and hated sex. So
Great.
we were both
We're
right.
totally
All
right.
Fucking spot on. We're journalists.
We're geniuses. Okay.
Genius journalists.
Other related terms include collective farms, communitarianism, which just puts an emphasis on the community and it's not necessarily this like socialist aspect.
Mhm.
Kibbutz, which is Hebrew
Kibbutz.
for gathering. What?
Kibbutz. Or how do I say? On the kibbutz. Kibbutz.
I love coming in to
K1.
correct someone when you're not sure if you're doing it right. That is confidence, and I love it.
Kibbutz. I feel like
I'm
that's
trying
a
to
happy
remember.
medium.
On the kibbutz. Kibbutz.
Kibbutz.
Kibbutz. That's it.
Gesundheit.
Which is Hebrew for gathering. So these are agricultural and industrial communities. All their profits are shared and reinvested after everyone's like clothed and fed and all that stuff. Also, moshav.
Cool. I don't know this one.
Oh, okay. I was waiting. Which is Hebrew for settlement, which is a type of cooperative agricultural settlement. I feel like a kibbutz is more like a lifestyle. Like people fully live there. They raise their kids together. It's like a whole thing. Whereas
I know a lot of people that have done like internships on a kibbutz. Like they like go and they spend like a gap year or something in Israel on a kibbutz or whatever. But
that's more in line with a commune the way that we think of it
right.
than a moshav, which this is just my understanding from my very shallow research.
Yeah.
That's more like a co-op, more like food, more community and not like insular sort of.
Okay.
I'm probably wrong. I don't care. Then
I
again,
don't
I
know.
wasn't wrong about the furniture. Okay.
That's right.
So here's a little bit specifically about 1960s and 70s hippie communes in the United States. This is from The American Century. Communes were more than a lifestyle. They were experiments in living that modeled new social form in which cooperation would replace competition, everyone would be equal, cultural conditioning could be shed, and individual welfare would be won with the common good.
But capitalism proves too tempting for some of them.
We'll get to the capitalism. At least that was the idea, but in truth, living in a hippie commune, though highly romanticized by those who participated in the social experiments, was a complex struggle nearly as faceted as life in the mainstream. Although hippies fled to rural America with visions of utopia in their head, life on the commune was not all it was cracked up to be. Members of the first hippie communes, though this number ultimately reached over 2,000, and I saw something closer to 3,000 in other articles. It's a lot of fucking communes.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
There were tons of them.
Believed that a group of autonomous individuals actively seeking their self-identities would inevitably create a non-exploitative, conflict-free environment. That was the theory.
What about that would be inevitable? I would argue maybe the opposite.
The opposite?
Anything run by humans.
Non-exploitative and conflict-free, inevitable.
Good. Show me in history.
Yeah.
Show me on the doll.
Point to a single example.
Literally.
Where we've been capable of that. Just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Well, wait.
There aren't any.
Even the Shakers had to indenture
Seriously.
children to grow their numbers. So,
Non-exploitative, you know?
and they were good at making furniture.
Golly.
Real good at making furniture, though.
All right.
I need some dining chairs replaced.
Okay.
Yet there were many...
There are many of them anymore, for obvious reasons.
You might be SOL on your shaker.
I'll just go
dining
get some
set.
wood glue. All right. Yet there were many practical problems with this thought, and this was evidenced early on by daily life. on a
Almost
commune.
immediately.
So here are some potential problems with communes. The first is intentional poverty. This would make it much harder to leave if you wanted to. Also, you are, as long as you're existing in America, you are still participating in capitalism
You have no
on
choice.
some level.
And outside of America.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
case is in India.
Right. Drug use, which was, I wouldn't say it was necessarily like assumed, but
Oh, in my case it is.
yeah, 60s, 70s, free love, all that shit.
We'll get to it.
There was drug use.
Mhm.
Loss of individuality, which was that wasn't supposed to be the point. You're supposed to like go there to find yourself and like actualize, but because you're living, each person in a commune is basically part of an organism, and you have to cooperate. You have to perform certain functions. You can't step too out of line. In the end, you are sacrificing some of your individuality over time.
You're a cog, babe.
Peer
You're a
pressure is
fucking
very
cog.
heightened. Yeah.
Am I a cog? Am I a fucking cog?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Now back to work.
Yeah.
Throw those tomatoes.
Here's your LSD. Now go whole.
Here's
Go whole.
Now go whole.
Go breastfeed kids that are not yours.
Good God. So much wet nursing.
Ugh. Lots of sexual coercion and assault. Lots. And like I mentioned before, they are a slippery slope into cultishness. Culty. A little culty. Here are some notable commune citizens. The guys from Ben and Jerry ice cream.
Yep.
In what way? They were raised on one?
They just lived on one.
Yeah, they're like the OG super hippies.
I knew that. I didn't know the commune part. Okay.
Jerry was, I believe, part of the Chicago 7 who were like arrested at anti-Vietnam rally thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just started that show that's on Netflix. It was like a movie. It's called The Trial of the Chicago 7 or some shit.
Oh,
That a
yeah.
while ago, and I don't remember anything about it. But
It's got
yes.
Sacha Baron Cohen in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he has like
Basically-
a pretty good Vermont accent. It's really kind of alarming.
He's a good actor.
He's a really
He
good
is really
actor.
good. Basically anything I watched during like the height of COVID lockdown is lost. Like all of that time in my mind, she gone.
Yeah, Joe Exotic is still in there.
He has a stronghold
Yeah.
on me, on my psyche, but like nothing else made it.
I lost a lot of memory from that, at least that first 6 months. But even like the next day or like the next week, I'd be like, I have no idea what I did yesterday. No idea. Weird. Libby Hall of Hallmark Cards infamy.
No way. Of the Hallmark Halls?
Art Spiegelman, who was the author and I think artist of Mouse, yeah. That graphic novel.
Heartbreaking. So good.
Bernie Sanders, duh, obviously. We already knew that.
The mouse in Mouse.
Basically. The lead in Mouse.
The lead.
The title character.
Peter Simon of Simon & Schuster Publishers. Also, I didn't know he was the brother to Carly Simon.
What?
J'excuse?
Simon & Schuster. That Peter Simon, Carly Simon. Sibs.
It surprises me to 0% that Carly Simon would have been a commune baby.
I don't know that she lived on a commune. Her brother lived on a commune.
It's possible. It's possible.
It probably would have been mentioned if she had in the article I was
Didn't
reading.
Winona Ryder do some time in a commune as a child?
That was prison.
No.
For theft, for shoplifting.
Well, that would have been more recent. This is like 60s, 70s, like this little this was from an interview with a guy who like was talking about this specific window in time.
Okay. So yes, later she did spend 4 years on a 300-acre hippie commune called the Rainbow Commune in Mendocino, California as a child.
Great. Love
No
it.
wonder she had to steal bras.
Yeah, she just thought they were free.
I provided the spandex for the straps in these bras with my own bare hands.
These are mine.
They belong to
I
me.
was going to come do my shift at the co-op.
The
Give me my free
Victoria's
bra.
Secret co-op.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Also, Allen Ginsberg. No surprise there. Patricia Whalen, who later became a judge and a champion for representing women, and she also opened Vermont's first rape and crisis center.
Wow.
Lots of poets and authors. No one is surprised by that. Also, Kenyon kind of mentioned all of these communes and farms had different names, and my favorite name was Total Loss Farm.
Total Wine Farm.
Total Loss Farm. I think that's funny.
Total loss. Like, I don't know, write it off. It's a total loss.
Total
Well, it's
loss.
just like you're not profit. You're just maintaining. There's no
Total
profit.
loss.
It's a total loss. But Total Loss Farm was where one of the first same-sex marriages was held.
Cool.
That's
So it wasn't a total loss.
Wasn't a total loss.
So why did these communes eventually break up? Main reasons cited in the Forbes article that I was referencing were the end of the Vietnam War. So to some, it was like, okay, well, we don't really have anything to. We don't have a real
Protest
main
for it. We're not-
reason to
Yeah, there
exit
isn't a
society.
unifying force. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll just go back to work.
Also, the women's movement. I think women were like, we don't
everything.
need any of
Yeah,
this.
this isn't quite working for us.
right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Actually, there was an interesting note in there that there was like after kind of the breakdown of communes, like as a whole, there were a lot of just female-run households. Like the women left with their children, and they're just like, let's just get an apartment and move in together. And it wasn't like a commune; it was just like women
was
supporting
just a- it
women,
was just a lease.
Designing women.
designing women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to my home.
They just started a podcast.
Yep. Also, as we mentioned, economic realities, specifically the oil embargo of 1974 and 75, which like affected everything.
Mhm.
And also people just kind of grew up. They're like, well, I have a college degree.
Yeah.
What
My
am I
back
doing?
hurts. I don't
Yeah.
want to be hoeing every day.
Money is fun.
Yeah.
They want like kids and a house and a stable marriage and normal life.
Yeah.
So that's sort of background of communes, but Jordan wanted me to cover a specific commune, a current day commune. So this exists. I'm putting a little asterisk on there. We'll get to it. In Custer County, Colorado. It's called the Tenacious Unicorn Ranch.
Wow.
Excellent name.
Okay. Yeah.
It was founded in 2018 and, just like this podcast, was created in the aftermath of the 2016 presidential election.
I wanted to flee society too.
You
so
did.
I get it.
Many of us did.
We essentially did.
Yeah.
We fled within.
We went
Retreated inside.
Yeah. So Tenacious Unicorn Ranch was founded by Penny Logue, who now co-owns it with Bonnie Nelson and Jay Stanley. And this is from Wikipedia. The ranch aims to provide a safe place for transgender and non-binary people who have struggled to find housing, employment, or happiness. Speaking to the Socialist Rifle Association podcast, Logue said, quote, "We really saw the writing on the wall with the way that rhetoric was changing so quickly, how nasty the ramp up to the election was, how damaging it was for queer people specifically. We didn't really think it was going to get any better, so we tried to start coming up with ways not only to save ourselves, but bring that kind of safety net to other queer people as well."
Hallelujah.
Logue and her girlfriends adopted a herd of alpaca and moved to the ranch in Colorado. There are photos on the drive, which will be on the blog.
Thank God.
Oh my God, I just a queer ranch in Colorado with
alpacas.
alpaca.
Stop it. They're
Yeah.
so
Lovely.
fluffy.
I know.
Give me one. I'm moving.
The picture of the little alpaca next to the
Little
assault
anarchist
right? Oh yeah, the anarchist flag is so cute.
Oh.
Yeah, the guns are throwing me, but everything else is so cute.
We'll get to the guns. And
Okay.
Logue had grown up on a farm and learned to farm from her grandfather, so she super knew how to run a ranch.
That's helpful. A lot of them are missing that aspect right from the get-go.
Right. This
The
is a
whole
functional
Actual survival skills aspect.
This
Yeah.
is a
It's kinda
functional,
crucial.
yeah. And they're not, I wouldn't categorize them necessarily as a commune because they do participate in capitalism and outside of their ranch itself. But we'll get to more of this. Members of the Tenacious Unicorn Ranch are anarchists, leftists, and anti-fascists. The group primarily supports itself financially through selling yarn from their alpaca and working for neighboring ranches, and also just doing projects and jobs for people in their community, which makes this next part fucking egregious. Well, not this very next part. They have also raised money through online fundraising.
How dare they?
In addition to maintaining the ranch, the group has helped with community projects, including establishing a recycling program at the county landfill and starting a community garden.
Oh.
The Tenacious Unicorn Ranch also helps other queer collectives start similar projects. In July 2021, they were in the process of helping a group create an indigenous queer ranch in Arizona. Logue said they intended to co-sign for the property and provide the group with a herd of alpacas so they could just get started
you
right
started.
now.
Oh my God.
That's really cute.
Your starter pack. Starter alpaca.
Here's some
Pack a pack.
land. Here's a little pack of alpacas.
Your pack.
Go out there and be queer.
Yeah. This is
Go hole.
the go hole.
Go out in the hole.
This is from a 2021 Reuters article. In March of 2020, the operation moved just outside the small town of West Cliff, Colorado, in southern Colorado. The town is about 5,000 residents. That's important to note. So they arrived with 86 alpaca, 20 chickens, 40 ducks, several dogs and cats, and 9 people.
That's a good ratio. Those are good numbers.
Yeah.
On the ranch, gender is never assumed. Inhabitants are free to love who they love and be who they are. Rainbow and anti-fascist flags adorn the walls, including one featuring the 3 arrows of the World War II era German anti-Nazi, anti-fascist Iron Front. So they know their shit. Co-owner Bonnie Nelson says, quote, "I got here and I experienced a love and acceptance that I never did before. I had true family for the first time." Oh. On July 4th, 2020, Logue and Nelson headed into town for coffee at their favorite spot. The Westcliff Independence Parade, it's like their 4th of July parade, had been canceled because of pandemic restrictions. Logue and Nelson saw a steady stream of protesters, a number of whom were openly carrying guns. Some wore body armor. Amid American flags, one demonstrator carried a banner bearing the emblem of right-wing militia group, the Three Percenters. Another wore a shirt that declared, "It's okay to be white."
There are a lot of left-leaning, like, protective groups that, well, not even left-leaning, leftist, that attend protests nationwide to protect protesters from heavily armed right-wing militias.
Yeah.
This is the world in which
This isn't
we
what
live.
they were doing. They just happened
No, they
were
upon
out
this
to get
protest.
coffee.
No,
But
I'm
yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
so if, like, I could see how this
Is that gonna
leftist
escalate?
anarchist group out to get coffee is like, oh, fuck.
Mhm.
There's all these right-wing nut jobs
Yeah.
just walking around with guns.
Yep.
How are we going to protect ourselves?
Next
So I guess I can
sentence.
see how that would explain the guns in the
Yeah.
alpaca photos is what I'm getting to.
I had a guy today tell me that he hates guns. He doesn't like guns. He comes from a country where guns are illegal, but I should get a gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have complicated feelings about guns in general.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't stand for is weapons of warfare that can
Yeah.
be given to whoever the fuck wants one.
Mm-hmm.
These are toys to make insecure people feel powerful, and they have no business in our society.
And they're deadly, and they're terrorizing our whole society. Can't go fucking anywhere. Can't go to anywhere.
Anytime I'm in a place with a lot of people, that is a main anxiety point that I am
It's bad.
constantly thinking about.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, Logue said that she was the grandchild of Armenian genocide survivors and grew up on stories that taught her to respond to, quote, anything that looks like fascism. So she
That's
wasn't
good.
just going to sit down and be like, nut jobs, let's just get
Yeah.
back to our ranch. It's like,
Right.
no,
It's like,
no,
got to
no.
address it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She wrote in a tweet that same day, quote, "The 4th of July parade in Westcliff was a Nazi propaganda parade. I've never been so unsettled." Messages and calls expressed transphobic hatred and disdain for the ranchers' anti-fascism. That's when these messages and threats began.
Yeah, they were going to be an obvious target for these fucking Looney Tunes.
In a town of 5,000 in rural Colorado,
Yep.
deep red.
Yep.
In March, a volunteer escorted 2 armed men away at gunpoint after they were spotted climbing the hill toward the ranch house.
That's fucking terrifying.
The identity of the men is unknown. The ranchers talked about the hostility in media interviews, hoping increased attention would scare off harassers. They installed cameras, obtained body armor, and began to build a taller fence and stepped up their firearms training. This is just protection.
Yeah, you can't blame them.
Nope. The ranchers have not reported any of the threats to the Custer County Sheriff's Department. The ranchers said they declined to do so in part because they had seen Custer County Sheriff Shannon Byerly in a video speaking at a 2015 rally held near Westcliff on the anniversary of the founding of the right-wing Oath Keepers,
Yeah.
Yeah, they know that they're not there to protect them, and they're
Fuck
just gonna
no.
cause shit.
whose members believe the federal government is encroaching on their rights and who try to recruit, among others, law enforcement officers.
Oh, yeah. The amount of fucking law enforcement in
These militia
right-wing
groups.
Hate
fucking
groups.
neo-Nazi hate groups are... It's extremely high.
It's extremely
scary.
intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Byerly denied supporting the Oath Keepers.
Of course he did.
Whatever. Byerly said his deputies checked out media reports of threats against the ranch and found no evidence. He said ranchers were not contacted for the informal investigation because his deputies did not feel welcome at the ranch. Wonder why.
Yeah.
So
We concluded she must have been smoking and driving.
he referenced in this interview a, quote, confrontational exchange between armed ranchers and one of his deputies. But
My eyes are rolling so hard.
through a Freedom of Information Act request, they obtained the body camera image from this deputy and showed it to him. They showed that the rancher was unarmed when she greeted the deputy at the gate of the ranch and also offered contact information like, yes, we want to help and solve this.
Yeah, here's how we can
Right.
work together. Yeah.
You can't just, maybe don't just show up. But yeah, here, if you want to get in touch, we can set up a time.
And the cop was like, they greeted us armed to the teeth and we were afraid to
we gotta mow them
Exactly.
down and we're gonna blow them to Sunday.
So that's what the sheriff thought, but then they showed him body camera image. And
Funny
he was
how
like,
if he had just reviewed the footage immediately, you would know
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
that was bullshit.
this is an NPR article also from 2021. Like I said, they had recently at this time put up a 6-foot fence around the 40-acre property. Logue and Nelson carried handguns at all times, ton of cameras. One of the walls of their communal geodesic dome ranch house, love that, is stocked with various assault weapons. Less great,
Beautiful
but
weapon bunker.
in their geodesic dome ranch house.
Okay. Yeah.
Nelson says, quote, there is some degree where we want that militaristic perspective. All we want is to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
The Tenacious Unicorn Ranch has ignited a cultural flashpoint since relocating to Deep Red, Custer County last year, meaning in 2020. A number of articles from regional and national news outlets have detailed allegations of the ranchers facing severe online threats, multiple instances of local harassment, and even armed trespassing on the property itself. Logue says she believes much of the local antagonism comes from conservative militia groups in the county that she said have threatened the ranchers at Tenacious. Mm-hmm. Quote, look, we get made fun of all the time. That's not even interesting to us. Mm-hmm. It's when you come onto my property with firearms after threatening to burn down my house. That's different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yet some, including readers of the unabashedly conservative Sangre de Cristo Sentinel, it's like their local paper, say that the ranch is exaggerating its claims of persecution to bring in large amounts of cash through online fundraising efforts.
I mean, the same bullshit was going down in Minneapolis during the uprising when people were like, listen, it's not members of the community that are like trying to light people's fucking houses on fire. There are definitely outside aggravators coming in and doing this, and people were like, no, they're not. You're fucking full of shit, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like they're quietly being arrested one by one from not in the cities as outside agitators.
Umbrella Man.
Yeah,
did they figure out who that fucker was?
I don't even fucking know. I don't think so.
That was so blatant. It blew my mind.
It's just so fucking annoying when it's like, no, but for real, like, we have cameras, like, we can show you.
Right.
Like, what's going on? And people are like, no.
Want evidence?
Fucking Rittenhouse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hate
Okay, so this is from a letter to the editor published in that conservative paper under the name Lisa Frank.
Like as like a real resident, or a resident was just like, my fucking pen name is Lisa Frank.
It's a letter to the editor. You can sign whatever name you want.
Amazing.
They're sneaking in as gay icon Lisa Frank, and I'm obsessed with it.
Son of a bitch. So Lisa Frank from rural Custer County wrote, quote, long before the tenacious unicorns came to this valley, there were hardworking ranchers living humbly and quietly asking nothing from others. That doesn't even make sense. But media are making heroes out of people with their hands out to everyone in the name of oppression, as if they are an abused population.
Yeah, that
Go
sentence made no
fuck
sense.
yourself.
First of all, these literally are hardworking ranchers, and they just want to be left alone. They are literally quietly and humbly asking for nothing from others.
For you to fuck off.
They built a fence so you could fuck
to
off.
keep you out.
Yeah. They want to be left alone.
I love when dumb people are trying to sound smart and then write shit like this. Like, this is word
Also,
salad.
what do you care if they're fundraising?
No, it
says
doesn't make any difference.
nothing to do with you, Lisa Frank. If they're fundraising, don't donate.
Fuck you, Lisa
Yeah.
Frank.
It's their property.
Right. Logue countered that the unicorns have engaged in a number of community-focused projects in Westcliff. Like I said, the local recycling efforts to providing local handiwork to starting a community garden.
I'm dropping
How
some Lisa
dare
Frank
they?
images on the drive.
Good.
Can they just be quieter and humbler?
Right.
Harder working?
Harder working.
Ooh, there's a unicorn. This is
All their
perfect.
volunteerism and their farming.
Their
dare
love for
they?
recycling. Ugh.
God damn it.
It's foul.
Ruining this country.
The unicorns have tried to show their affection for the people of Custer County, says Logue, but it's just that a small group of people makes life difficult for the county's LGBTQ residents, because it's not just the unicorns. There are queers everywhere, even in a town of 5,000 that's
And maybe
super
you shouldn't
conservative.
Fucking be Nazis marching
Yeah.
on the 4th of July. You
For
fucking
God's
hypocrites.
sakes. Yeah.
Quote, this county is stuffed full of downright amazing people, and that has nothing to do with politics. We have a lot of friends who are conservatives, but we don't have any friends that are Nazis.
Yeah.
As for the assertion that their harassment claims are a fundraising ploy, Logue called it a straw man argument. Quote, that's classic abuser speak to be like, oh, well, the problem is not the abuse, it's that they went public with the abuse. Recent fundraising efforts have paid for their security upgrades and farming implements like their new tractor because they're ranchers.
Mm-hmm.
The ranches.
It's also such projection. It's like, it's what? Creating false oppression in fundraising efforts is like what conservatism is built upon.
Literally.
Like that.
And they're just jealous that it's not
game.
working for them as well.
Yeah.
And that this queer ranch is thriving.
Like, look at Trump. Like, that's literally all he does is claim to be
Handouts.
oppressed and fundraise.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, the worst part about Lisa Frank's thing was like, as if they are an oppressed community. They fucking are.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. The ranch's goods and services, like their yarn, has always brought in more income than its fundraising, says Logue, and she thinks it's entirely appropriate to ask for online support to upgrade the ranch's facilities so members there feel more secure.
Absolutely. It's a fucking, if we live in a capitalist society, people can give their fucking money to whoever the fuck they want.
And it's
Fuck
the
off.
unicorns' rights to shut their front gate and leave the world behind, just like anyone fucking else, like Lisa fucking
And have their
Frank.
fucking guns. I mean, that sucks. Like, I wish that we didn't need them on either side of the coin, but like,
Yeah. But if
all these
if people
fucking
are coming
conservatives are
onto their
just-
property with these assault weapons,
they're literally just
Protect
using
yourself.
the
Basically,
exact...
episode 2 of Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or episode 3. But
Whatever.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just using the
the
same...
strawberries.
Oh, I can't. I don't want to cry today, okay? The sun is out. Can we not?
Okay. Okay, so unfortunately, this was my asterisk was about. As of March 2023, so last month, the ranch has been evicted from their former property and are currently without a permanent physical location. I can't find any more information about this. I just saw this at the bottom of their Wikipedia page. They seem to have their shit locked down because I also tried to look for their Instagram, which was referenced. They used to have an Instagram. So if you listeners know anything about where they're currently at and how we can help, support, give money to them, email me and we will share it widely.
I wonder how they got evicted if they owned maybe they didn't fully own the land.
Maybe they didn't.
I couldn't find anything about it. So
All right.
I'm hoping
Yikes.
they've got bigger and better things in the works. And yeah, I don't really
Maybe
know
this
where
is
they
just a
stand right
transitional
now.
period. Yeah, I don't know.
So cool, kind of cool. Thank you, Jordan, for
Interesting.
bringing that to our attention because that is yeah, wild. That's my
Fascinating.
that's my seg.
Well done.
Well
Thanks.
done. Learned a lot.
Kenyon's thirsty. We
I'm
better
very
take a break.
thirsty. I need to go get wine.
I'm going to check my blood sugar.
I'm gonna eat my poke bowl. We'll be right back.
So, I mentioned before that my case is from India, but still kind of part of that 60s craze of communes. You guys are both eating. It's not nice.
I have diabetes.
You're fine.
I haven't eaten yet today.
We both know that you're snacking now, not because of the diabetes.
I am 1,000% still snacking because of the diabetes.
I'm not.
My blood sugar is just finally heading up. Proof, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need proof.
All right, those numbers mean nothing to me. That
They
could
mean
be
everything to me.
the volume on your Apple Music, for all I know. I don't know what the fuck that is.
No.
It's finally going up. 439.
I wish. I don't wish. That'd be terrible.
It's just a calculator.
Okay.
Calculator.
Okay.
Okay. So, it takes a long time to reach Oroville on India's Coromandel coast. You have to fly from Delhi to Chennai, which is the capital city of Tamil Nadu, and then take a 3-hour bus ride from Chennai to the quaint town of Pondicherry in the Puducherry district. And I have been to all of these places.
Who's in Pondicherry?
Pondicherry was like a French colonialist town. It's like this cute, quaint.
Is that where the Pi from Life of Pi was from in the book?
Maybe. I don't know.
Someone's from Pondicherry. Okay, carry on. That
think
fictional
millions
character
of people
who's
are
from
probably from Pondicherry.
Googling. I'm pretty
millions.
sure
It's
Pi was from.
It's a small-ish town for India, but yeah, it's near Chennai, which is a massive city. So then you can either wait for another bus or grab a ride on a rickshaw, and this will take you the final 20-minute stretch to Oroville, a.k.a. the City of Dawn.
Okay.
So Oroville's namesake was Sri Orobindo.
Redenbacher.
I was right. Pi's from Pondicherry.
There you go. So many connections to Pondicherry.
Shakers, furniture, Pondicherry.
What?
I'm fucking on it.
The word
today.
association is getting a little weird.
Shakers, furniture, Pondicherry.
Hi.
Did I throw my
Orville
medicine out the
Redenbacher.
window?
Is this a dream? Okay. So the namesake was Sri Orobindo, a philosopher, yogi, poet, and Indian nationalist during the British colonial period. And he started the anti-colonialist Go Home British campaign in Calcutta.
Can't blame him.
No, certainly can't blame him.
No.
In 1908, after he was imprisoned for a year for sedition, Orobindo fled to Pondicherry, which was a French colony at the time. So it's still on the subcontinent of India, but it was outside of the British
Right.
jurisprudence at the time. So what?
Not
Jurisprudence is just a great word.
the papier-mâche prudence.
There he converted from a political figure to a spiritual guru whose aim was to, quote, awaken the soul of India.
Look.
There are photos of this gentleman on the drive.
I don't think I need a photo. I know exactly what he looks like.
Yeah, you're probably right. So Sri Aurobindo's spiritual collaborator was a French woman named Mira Alfassa. She was born in Paris. Her parents were Turkish and Egyptian and Jewish. In later life, she would become known simply as the Mother.
Ooh.
Madre.
We don't really have time to go into a lot of detail about the Mother's past. She led quite the life. But the salient facts are that following her second marriage to a French army officer / politician / philosopher, which sounds miserable,
Many
if
hats.
I'm being honest. She traveled to Pondicherry and became acquainted with Sri Aurobindo. So she is married to her second husband. She's traveling a lot. First they go to Japan. She's jet setting around in the early 1900s. It's
Living
very
her
cool.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes to Pondicherry and she meets this guru man.
Mm-hmm.
And she had long been interested in the occult and spiritualism and all that stuff. And she had kind of started her own little spiritualist salons in Paris and was dipping her toes into these waters for a while.
Sure.
But then she meets this guru and she instantly recognized him, even though she'd never met him before in her life, because she'd been having prophetic dreams about him for months/years.
Convenient.
Sounds like Rasputin.
A little bit.
Little Butin.
Well, Butrin.
So fast forwarding a bit, it was actually her, the mother, Mira Alfasa, who founded the Sri Orobindo ashram and established this town of Oroville. And this was all in the guru's honor. So he didn't start it himself. It's just named after him.
Okay.
She gave him the cred, kinda.
Kinda.
Did he take the cred?
No, there's not that much more about him. I mean, he was a lot older than her, and he...
I thought they fell in love, maybe.
No. Now he gone from the story.
Later.
Babe.
So a little bit rare there that we've got a female-founded ashram.
Yeah, we got some Credonia vibes coming up here.
A little bit. Don't get too excited. It's
Okay.
It's not
It's not
Credonia
that
level.
interesting.
There aren't hundreds of pounds of beef and Coca-Cola in my future.
And telecommunications via cups and plates.
Oh, I miss it.
The plates and the Coca-Cola and like the fiery death.
Ugh.
The only thing I remember
It
about
was one of the best cases ever.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I peaked so early. Okay.
We all did.
In 1965,
We peaked with necrophilia, honestly.
Right out of the gate. Peaked.
the mother published an article called The Dream, where she imagined a place where no nation could claim it as its own property. Instead, it belonged to all of humanity.
Okay.
And then on February 28th, 1968, the city of Oroville was established in order to contribute to the progress of humanity through popcorn.
Yum.
Yum. Holy
Well,
shit,
that
I
would
would
work.
sell all of my worldly possessions and join that.
I'm going to
Yum.
make Act 2-ville
Ugh.
because I prefer butter lovers. The county of butter
The
lovers.
county. Okay. I would join that.
In the district of butter lovers.
The butter lovers ashram. Founded in honor of butter lovers.
Indeed.
of Oroville. So this is going to belong to all of humanity, progress of humanity, blah, blah, blah,
Blah,
bringing
blah.
people together, aspiration for a better world. Okay.
Blah, 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 blah.
I tried to read
Yada, yada, yada.
bada bing, bada boom.
Aspiration for a better world, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
I tried to read her prophetic dreams, and it was all just that kind of nonsense.
No, just word salad.
Yeah, word salad about like a better future and coming together and universalism
blah,
and
blah, blah.
humanity, and I can't do it. So
Too optimistic. It's
I
ridiculous.
don't have it in
Yeah,
me.
grow
Back
up.
to the sparkling
Grow
mosaic.
up.
Grow up is my new favorite comeback.
Grow
up.
I say it to anything. It rarely makes sense.
Mine is
It
I
never
forget-
applies.
I saw it was a tweet. It was somebody. I didn't not come up with this, but somebody on Twitter called somebody an absolute grape.
That sounds so British.
Wow.
You are an absolute grape.
Oh my God.
I love it so much. All right.
Fucking grape.
You fucking grape.
I love that.
That's so stupid.
You
I love
utter grape. You're a straight up grape right now.
Oh my God. So Alfasa's first message about Oroville goes as follows. Quote, Oroville wants to be a universal town where men and women of all countries are able to live in peace and progressive harmony above all creeds, all politics, and all nationalities. The purpose of Oroville is to realize human unity.
Okay.
Which, like, it's giving, like, WeWork documentary, but, like, fine. Whatever.
Totally.
It really fucking is.
You can totally apply for this credit card. You'll totally get approved.
So the mother then went on to write her 4-point charter for integral living, and they are as follows. Oroville belongs to nobody in particular. Oroville belongs to humanity as a whole. But to live in Oroville, one must be the willing servitor of the divine consciousness.
Ugh, okay, I'm out.
I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Oroville will be the place of an unending education, of constant progress, and a youth that
Exhausting.
never ages.
I'm already tired.
Constant progress? No break?
No break. What I'm hearing is a lot of,
Hearing a lot of work.
and I need a little bit of
Fun.
You're here. I need you here.
you're out hoeing, and I need you
Go.
sitting.
Go.
There's not a lot of room for skincare in this.
I have a very in-depth routine.
I have a 10-step regimen. Oroville wants to be the bridge between the past and the future. That's just called the present, baby. Taking advantage of all discoveries.
Surprise, you're there.
Try to escape it. You can't. Taking advantage of all discoveries from without and from within, Oroville will boldly spring towards future realizations. I thought you wanted to be in the present. Now you're springing towards the future.
You're all
It's
over the
fine.
place, lady.
Fucking pick one.
Pick a lane.
Pick a struggle.
Get a grip.
Oroville.
Pick a tense.
Oroville will be a site of material and spiritual research for a living embodiment of actual human unity.
Okay.
It's like a weird mission statement. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
It's a run-on sentence, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Editorialized.
There's a lot on the website of this type of shit.
Yikes.
And nothing specific.
No, very hard to nail down.
Word salad is how these places thrive. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So in many ways, Oroville has lived up to some of its word salad founding principles. It did function as a sort of universal township, so delegates representing 124 nationalities attended an inauguration ceremony for Oroville.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, with youth from each country bringing a fistful of soil from their respective countries to fill an urn.
Okay,
and,
but the
mix it all.
cross-contamination-
Not good for bacteria.
Yeah, this
I mean,
is a
too
slippery
good for-
slope.
You don't want to be bringing soil from one country to another. It's not good.
It's like zebra
it's
mussels.
illegal.
You gotta make sure that shit's off your boat before you take it from one lake to another. Okay, it's invasive.
Absolutely. Get all the seaweed off your motor,
Cal.
your propeller, your
Your
prop.
rudder,
There
your
we go.
prop.
The carelessness, it's the carelessness.
Also, I'm picturing this urn to be like, you know, when you go to the state fair and like you can fill a glass thing with like different colored sand.
Yes.
And like use the stick to like make patterns.
Yes.
Blelly Blord had so many of those.
And so
Yeah.
many wax hands.
Wax hands.
I was so jealous. I was never given the allowance money to afford such
I can
luxuries.
smell her room.
Me
And
too.
it smells like plastic.
Incense.
So, the community's charter was written in French and emblazoned on the urn.
The Grecian urn.
UNESCO has actually protected the township since 1968, and the Indian government donates $200,000 a year towards its upkeep, which I found pretty astounding. I think that's just because of the tourist value of it.
Sure.
And like a lot of foreigners live there, so they don't want it to be like,
A shithole.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all this,
Bad for marketing.
yeah. All this sounds okay. You're probably asking yourself, where do I sign up?
I'm not, but sure.
Some people are probably into it.
Yep.
Yeah, right. But what is it like to live there day to day? Well, first and foremost, community is the most important factor. Anyone and everyone is welcome in Oroville as long as they can pay their own way.
No handouts.
As long as you're not poor or, destitute. It is encouraged for people to learn the Tamil language so that they can facilitate a friendly relationship with local residents. They don't want it to just become like a, English speaking like Euro Disney.
I like that. That's a good rule.
That's good. Orovillians are actually encouraged to learn 4 languages: English, French, Tamil, and simple Sanskrit for like reading purposes. They're also expected to follow Indian laws and regulations. So it's not a sovereign citizen's situation. Like, even though in the charter it's all like, this belongs to nowhere and everywhere. Blah,
I'm
blah,
traveling.
Blah. Yeah. They're like, no.
Traveling.
The Indian government gives us money, so we are going to follow your laws. Mostly. Alcohol and drugs are not allowed.
Boo,
But-
I'm out.
According to most residents, that is a rule that is not usually followed.
Cheeky.
Meaningful work is the second key aspect of the commune. Residents are expected to contribute to the town either through work or, ding, 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 by relinquishing a substantial part of their income or property.
Knew it.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There she blows.
There she blows.
Residents with means are also expected to give regular monetary donations. So more on this later. But
Tithing.
yeah. Of course, the goal of Oroville is to eventually become a cashless economy. So they don't want, it's very Nan
It's not
Pierce.
forever. It's just to get us started.
Yeah.
It's very what?
Nan Pierce. Like, oh, this disgusting money. I hate thinking about it and talking about it. And really, we just wouldn't have
it
any
all.
money. And
Who's
it's
Nan Pierce?
from Succession.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Nan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch Sunday's episode?
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost caught up. I'm just finishing season 3 right now.
Kenyon, I'll call you later.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Buckle up, sis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm scared.
You should be.
So they want to become cashless, of course, but in the meantime, give us all your cash
Right.
and property.
We can't do it right now, but
yeah.
like later we can do that.
Leader.
And also, while giving us all your money and cash and regular donations, you still are expected to be self-sufficient
And learn 4+ languages.
and learn 4 languages and go to meetings and classes and probably pay for those classes too. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then that money will go to a general fund, literally just a slush fund. And we will get to it because nobody knows where the fuck that goes or who even controls it.
Cool.
Okay.
Just money going into the ether.
So unlike many other communes or cults, joining Oroville takes time. And there's even a waiting list.
No.
Yeah.
Are you is the idea to be there for the rest of your life, or is it
Yes.
like a health retreat?
No, it's to
It's
be
a
there.
way of being.
It's to live there and to like own property there and be there.
So the waiting list opens up upon someone's death,
Yeah,
or like if they grow it.
yeah. So we will get to the waiting list a little bit, but the website says that postulants, I use that word because I just watched The Sound of Music, must
We
visit.
saw the videos.
Kenyon and I both got Friedrich on that fucking BuzzFeed quiz.
Oh my god.
Who'd you get, Amanda?
I got the youngest boy.
Gretel. Oh,
no.
Kurt.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you're
Kurt.
such a
I got
Kurt.
Kurt.
You are a Kurt.
Oh, I don't know.
And
what
Courtney
that
is
means.
such a Brigitte.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
She really is.
She looks like her.
I mean, I'm a baroness, but if I had to be a child.
The quiz was
Okay.
about the children.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that the questions were like, what's your favorite musical note? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. How would you prank your nanny?
Yeah. A lot of nanny questions.
What would you do during a thunderstorm? Check on your nanny?
Very in-depth quiz.
I love it.
How many pairs of lederhosen made out of curtains do you own?
Shockingly, more than 1. Or more than 0.
Okay. So the website says that postulants must visit the town several times before deciding to go on their journey to join. So you can't just like have an eat, pray, love midlife
No,
crisis
you have to show
and show
your
up.
commitment to
Yeah.
Sparkle Motion.
Correct. And there are different ways to become a resident. The most straightforward way is to go through the newcomer process.
Ooh, it
So-
only costs $5 million
Right.
to join. And it's a fast-track training program. It's management training.
You'll get all of your debt relieved
Yep.
instantly.
Basically.
Oh, no.
There aren't a ton of details, so it's a lot of...
I
You're
bet.
going to have to make a lot of inferences. But what I have gleaned, first you have to visit, again, ideally more than once, but mandatory at least one documented trip to the town before you can even apply to the newcomer process.
Okay.
Or the waiting list.
Well, the waiting
Maybe?
list, you're not even close to getting on the waiting list, sister.
This is like the
Oh,
waiting
okay.
list checklist for
Yeah.
the waiting list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yikes.
Once accepted so you visit several times, you document those visits, then you apply to apply. Once you're accepted to the application process, it's for a probationary period, and the applicant must find 2 existing members to agree to serve as their mentors and to write letters of recommendation for them.
I'm out. This is way too much fucking work.
Oh, it's horrible. Newcomers...
I was out in her first paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Newcomers spend their probationary period either as guests in another resident's house, but not their mentor's house, or in a special house for new people, like a dorm kind of.
Okay.
Throughout this period, the newcomer will have regular meetings with their mentors, attend a class called the Aspiration Program for a fee, and meet with and meet with the application board.
Okay.
If you pass this level, then you are accepted as a full-fledged newcomer
Uh-huh.
and retain that status for the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay.
So
like-
you're still not a villager.
You're
at
not
this
a
Still
point.
not a
member yet.
resident.
Yeah, resident,
You're
sorry.
not resident. I said villager. You know what I meant.
Yeah, I get it. Animal Crossing.
You're still not on your own Animal Crossing island.
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
had
still-
the best shooting star situation last night.
Nice. You just raked.
Raked it in. There's
Good
a
for
limit
you.
of 10. Did you know this?
What?
There's a limit of 10 star
Wow, I've
fragments.
wasted a lot of time getting shooting stars that I
know.
can't even use. Great.
know.
Cool.
I know.
Thanks. Whatever, Kenyon. Whatever.
Kenyon patiently waiting for us to be fucking done.
I was dissociating for a moment. It was actually lovely.
You're welcome.
We can keep going.
That was like the longest break I've had in a while.
We're thriving.
Go on.
No, we're good.
I have cockroaches too.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
forgot how to get rid
Oh,
of
not
them.
in real
You
life.
just walk
No,
over
in my
them.
house.
You just walk over them. You just have to literally run over them.
Kenyon
your
said,
house.
"Oh, I thought you meant in real life," and I said, "No, in my house."
But you have to do them they're in every room. You have to go in every room in
I
your house
know.
and walk over them.
I know. I
Then
scared
they'll go
Alice away. She wouldn't even come in.
Wow.
Okay, so you also have to set up a job and a place to live during this period in this fucking town. Like you have to
Boring.
find a job. You have to live life like in
Yeah.
society with all the like responsibilities of
Capitalist
society
life.
and none of the benefits of it, and
Yeah.
then all of the responsibility of an ashram and none of the benefits of it.
Cool.
The
To show your
worst of
commitment to
both.
sparkle motion.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
In the past, people were given a pick of a new house in the town at this stage, kind of like The Last of Us, whatever, where they just like show up and they're like, here's your
Yeah.
gorgeous Colorado log cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But after 2021, everyone became responsible for buying their own houses in the town.
Okay.
This is because Oroville is facing a housing crisis.
Stop.
You'd think that they could really easily control that.
Mm.
I mean, if they had actually built a system of communal living and not just like really layered, complex capitalism in this like weird communal membership program.
But they
it's like
have full
it's like the worst
control.
Costco. I know, but
They have
they're
full
doing
control
it to make
as
money.
to who comes in.
Well, sure, but if they are just trying to make a bunch of fucking profit, then they're gonna like way under promise over promise under deliver, and that creates a housing crisis.
Yeah, they need more people to join
yeah.
because they need that.
It's kind of like an
influx.
MLM. Like they need the income to survive.
It's totally an MLM.
But then it falls the fucking part because this happens.
Yeah, it's like a timeshare basically,
Mm-hmm.
where like they've sold out, they've like promised
Yeah.
a lot of 2-week vacations, but they only have rooms for a lot of weekend
Yeah,
stays.
this reminds me of the fucking fundamentalist fundy fuckery that we did, where they made this like this Christian theme park with like one decent hotel, and then sold a bagrillion memberships at thousands of dollars, and then couldn't actually let them use any of their membership perks because they had no room.
Yep.
Jesus.
And then they got super sued.
Soup sued.
So the town currently has about 2,500 residents from 38 different countries, but the waiting list to become a resident just keeps getting longer and longer due to the housing shortage.
Well, we are also such suckers for like exclusivity.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. That we should be taking
It's
one
on
look at this
purpose.
and going, this is stupid. This is bullshit.
And I bet you there are really rich people who want to get in there who are like, hey, I'll give you 500 grand to just shoot me to the top.
To the top. Yeah,
Yep.
the corruption, babe.
Yep.
And I guess, like, if you want to live on an ashram that still kind of allows booze and private property, then this one sounds fairly chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be highly enlightened, but like under the capitalist structure that you are accustoed to. Here
And
you
comfortable
go.
with.
In, like, an area that's quaint because it was a
Colonized.
Yeah.
They fucking like genocided the original peoples out of that
There's
area.
a
to take
reason
their
it
shit.
looks like a quaint Swiss ski
Yup.
village.
Yeah. In India.
Oh, no.
It's not great. It's not
That
fucking
is-
great.
Until you hear about the crime stats for
Great.
this supposed utopian commune.
Good Lord.
So, in fact, it is so dangerous in and around Oroville that visitors are told not to leave their homes after dark.
Ugh, or you'll get popcorn.
Is it? God, we keep going back to popcorn.
Yeah, every time she says Oroville, I'm sent. Fucking Redenbacher.
So this isn't like a. I pictured it as like a fenced-in community, like a.
Fences are against their philosophy.
Oh.
It is a town, and there are entrances to the town, but it's not like one big fence.
It's not protected from the outside
Outsiders.
crime.
There's like space,
yeah,
but it's not like guarded or walled.
nothing's preventing thieves from coming in.
right,
let's
it's
say.
remote. It's not
Yeah.
walled.
Okay,
Correct.
got it.
And it's not even that remote.
Yeah,
it's like
nothing
20
in
minutes
India is
from
that remote.
Right. So, in an interview with Foreign Press, one resident admitted, quote, "When you start to scratch the surface in Oroville, it's a lot more ugly from the outside. You start to see all the problems here, and it's deeply layered." One of the biggest threats to residents is, of course, sexual harassment and sexual violence. Fences, like I said, are antithetical to the town's universalist principles, and there are 32 entrances. So outsiders looking to target people can easily
Get it in a
come
million
and go.
ways. 32
Yeah.
ways, to be exact.
Yeah. And go pretty much undetected. And women in particular have been attacked at night and continue to be vulnerable to harassment from both residents and non-residents.
Great.
But the attacks aren't limited to the nighttime. There have been several documented cases of rape, some of which occurred in broad daylight.
Dang.
Jesus.
In 2011, an American woman staying in a private cottage on the property in the Sadhana forests was attacked and raped while she was jogging.
Woof.
In 2019, a 15-year-old student, and I also read in some places that they were a 19-year-old student, so I don't know, a teenage student, was drugged and raped by her former boyfriend and two of his friends. And basically the rapist ex was like angry that she had ended their relationship at the direction of her parents. And he told her to meet him at his friend's house or, quote, there would be dire consequences.
Cool.
And then this dude and his friends laced her drink with sedatives and sexually assaulted her.
Oh my
Great.
God.
So Oroville
Jesus
police
fucking
arrested
Christ.
those men. I don't know what happened the rest of the procedure, but
Sure.
the utopia is also rife with child abuse, as many communes are, if we're being
Yeah.
real.
Right.
I should have put that on my
I mean,
list.
just labor alone.
Well, it's just, it's exploitation of all kinds.
It's beyond the labor. It's also like, why would a wealthy foreigner want to flee to rural India?
Right.
Mayhaps.
Yeah,
Lots
I wonder.
of wealthy foreigners in less wealthy countries who are just looking for children.
Yeah.
So there's actually a short documentary called BBC Exposes Dark Secrets of Oroville, pedophilia and child abuse. Little on the nose, but it's fine.
That is a little...
I appreciate the heavy-handedness.
Yeah. Which describes Oroville as a place where rich foreigners live in a utopia, but the villages around the town live in abject poverty, and the children in those villages have been repeatedly exploited and abused by residents. The vast difference in wealth between Oroville and the surrounding villages has led to a lot of conflict. So villagers allege that people in the town are using their charity schools that they've set up to abuse children. Basically, the rich foreigners come in and they're like, I want to help the children of India. Let's set up a school and I'm going to teach. And I'm also going to be around these children every day.
Help, meaning access.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Right.
That's so fucking gross.
Meanwhile, Orovillians say that resentment has led to people making false allegations against them. So I don't know. I tend to believe the villagers. But there are reports of people who have been convicted of child abuse in other countries who have then moved to Oroville to continue to commit crimes.
Yep.
And Lucy and I, when we taught English in China, I feel like there was a lot of this happening kind of under the table. It was like there were a lot of people like us who were just like young and wanted to travel and didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives yet, who were in the program. And then there'd be these random 52-year-old men.
White
It's what are you
men.
doing here, sir? And then 2 months later, they'd be dating an 18-year-old Chinese kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were more than a couple of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Or oh, now I have this girlfriend and she's 19 and I'm 64. Yeah.
No.
Well, it was just really apparent to us anyway, but there was something about the way that they handled it culturally over there. It was just yeah, you're cute and young. You find whatever white Westerner you can and just hang on to them. So it was a weird. It was a weird dynamic to the point where you couldn't. I don't know. It was icky.
Yeah, it was icky. In 2004, a resident, so he had gone through the whole process. He'd been in Oroville for almost a decade. This man named Didier Keene was expelled from Oroville after people became suspicious about his behavior around children. But again, it took them almost a decade to
Yeah, so damage had very much been done
Jesus
at that
Christ. The abusers probably moved on by then if they're targeting little kids.
Well, he just kept getting fresh village children to...
Oh, I thought it was one specific... Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So he had moved to Oroville in 1995 and had been working with children there for years before he was kicked out. So I don't know what the final thing was.
He probably pissed off the wrong person who finally decided to do something about it.
Probably.
Sure.
Or they just started to get foreign press attention and they were like, oh, we actually got to do something about Didier.
Yeah, because this is going to fuck up our bottom line.
Diddling Didier.
Oh,
Ew.
Jesus Christ.
But they definitely knew.
How
People
can you
know
not
about
know?
that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you don't know, but a lot of times you know.
In this specific situation and
Well,
context...
this was a trafficking situation almost. They knew what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
So the BBC reporter in this documentary stated that she herself saw white men who lived in Oroville picking up young Indian boys on the beach and taking them into beach huts just a few yards away for
No.
amounts of time and then going back to their home in Oroville.
Oh, God. Oh, that's so fucked up.
So Oroville filed an official complaint against the BBC after this documentary aired.
How
Claiming,
dare you expose us for what is happening here?
Yeah.
For
Claiming
what we're
that
actively doing.
Ugh.
they claimed that it was biased and untrue. But after an investigation, the UK's Office of Communications did not uphold their complaint. So they lost and the BBC won.
Well, and it's like, we have it on camera.
Yeah.
Like, we filmed this
And
happening.
you did kick out this guy.
Yeah.
So why'd you kick him out?
Right. Good luck.
We talked about the scams a little bit, the money. So it's supposed to be cashless, but it's definitely not. And new residents have to pay for themselves and their expenses and be able to contribute to the central fund and buy their own property.
Wow, the HOA fees here are insane.
Yeah.
God.
One resident, quote, I paid roughly $48,000 to the housing committee as a mandatory donation for my house 5 years ago. So they're buying property,
Yeah.
but they're not really buying property.
Right.
They're just not calling it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
They're making sizable contributions, quote unquote, donations.
for the
to
right to like live in a property. They don't.
a
It's not like they
specific spot,
own it.
yeah.
It's not like they can sell it later.
Right. Yeah, there's no return
know?
on investment in
Yeah.
that way.
Later, I found a photo of the house in an architecture magazine, and I saw it had been sold for $20,000. I don't know where that money went. I don't know who controls the funds. End quote.
That's always good.
My God.
Oroville gets its money from a few different places: donations, the Indian government, and private donors and
and
visitors.
popcorn sales.
And popcorn is a big one. So there's no government per se in
Sure.
Oroville. It's just a bunch of different committees that are all self-formed.
Great.
Like the residents are like, we need a housing committee. And these committees are very loosely run. So there are housing committees. There's a women's safety task force because
good.
fucking, of course.
Oh, I take that super seriously.
Yeah. There's an entry committee. There's a funds and assets management committee, but they're not actually, like, they don't have any, like, standing to actually control the funds.
I thought you
and
said
assets.
funds, like FUNS.
Funds.
Fun.
I would join that committee.
Amanda wants to
immediately.
start the funds committee.
I'm the chair of the
Multiple
funds
fun.
committee. Yeah.
And the government of India employs a permanent secretary of Oroville. And this person is kind of like an ambassador, or basically just like to keep an eye on things and make sure it doesn't go completely off the rails.
They're a PR manager.
Yeah. But when like these foreign reporters from like Slate or the BBC or whatever tried to meet with this person, they were told repeatedly that he was unavailable. And then also
He's
like
super busy forever. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. And also the same with all the committees. So like there's no government, and the like de facto government won't meet with anybody.
They're working
Slash
so
doesn't
hard.
exist.
They literally don't have time to talk to
We
you.
don't have time for transparency.
No.
so
That's
sorry.
how hard we're working.
Yeah. Okay, and what would it be without a little dash of murder?
Thank God.
So in 2000, this is actually like these are very scary.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
all fucking scary. It's so sketch.
So in 2009, a French man was murdered in his home at Oroville. His killers broke in, threw chili powder in his eyes,
No.
Ow.
No.
then hacked him to death with sharp objects.
Okay.
What sharp objects?
I don't know.
Bye.
Implements.
God.
It's been super
A
fun.
vase? I don't know. I'm speculating.
Oh,
Popcorn is not worth it.
no, what? No, it's not.
But like this is going to happen if you have a bunch of like seemingly rich people
Oh, of course.
in one concentrated area, and then you're living next to just abject poverty.
Oh, absolutely.
And then
There's
you're
too much
exploiting the
tension.
children of
Yep.
the people in the surrounding area.
Correct.
This is inevitable.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
a fucking powder keg.
Ugh, sad. Gross.
In 2010, there was a bloody murder where a local villager was decapitated by gang members from the area, and then the head was dumped inside Oroville's town hall building.
Oh,
That is so dramatic.
Right?
And I'm not saying I love it because that's fucking horrific.
sends a
But
message.
also, holy shit, the
That's a horse head in a
theatrics.
bed.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's heavy.
And also, another time, a Dutch man named Sido was killed by surrounding villagers who tried to rob him. Sido had been an outspoken advocate for increasing Oroville's safety protocols, ironically.
Jesus.
And like today, they do employ local security guards, but people are still strongly encouraged to stay indoors at all times at night.
Cool.
Was he killed at night?
Yeah. But like, why would you want, I just don't know why you'd want to live there.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So the most recent article that I found was in The Guardian, and it was about how Oroville is being split because there's a fight over development in the town. So basically,
God.
Oroville is just like this microcosm of like everything that's wrong in broader society.
Sure.
There's like
Condensed into one, like,
Condensed
there's
way
a
20
down.
housing
square mile radius.
shortage.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly.
HOA,
Capitalism,
murder.
HOAs, like non-transparency in government, violent crimes, sexual harassment and rape,
Trafficking
like
children, and other
exploitation,
people.
inequality. Like, they got it all.
Yeah.
They really do. It's
This
a
place
little
has
bit of everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Illicit
Good
drugs.
God.
And now there's, sectarianism. So,
Yay!
Peppered in.
Secretariat.
The horse?
horse fights.
Horse fights.
Another universal problem. They got horse fights.
Nobody
What's
talks
this?
about horse fighting. We are here.
long horse legs.
The hooves.
Horse
We are here to
fights, they're
shed
just
light
punching each other.
on the serious issue of horse fighting.
Oh my God.
So at this point in 2022, there are around 3,500 people living in Oroville. But again, I saw in 2021
Holy
that there were
sh- that's a
2,500.
lot.
So that's a lot of growth if those
Yeah.
numbers are true.
That's just a lot. Yes, a lot of people who are saps.
Yeah.
Or fucking sickos who want to be here intentionally to, like,
A lot of
Traffic
people who are
children,
either
yeah.
dumb, trapped, or have bad
fucking
intentions.
criminals. Yeah.
When we went to Madagascar, it was so fucking depressing because, like, literally every other foreigner that was there that we happened to see was there for, like, sex trafficking purposes.
Jesus Christ.
It was horrible.
I heard that
Ugh.
there was a recent, I listened to This American Life, and there's like a recent trend in older women traveling to Africa just to fuck African guys.
Correct.
Yep.
That's
Like,
not
Not
new,
that
but
new,
yeah.
but yeah.
I'd never heard of that.
Like
That's-
20
But
years.
a lot of countries don't grant visas to single Western
Sexual
women.
tourism and the, like, commodification and fucking
You usually think of it the other way around.
I think
though.
in terms of gross numbers, it is the other way around, but
yeah, but
it's so sensational and it is a growing and troubling trend of
yeah,
women also doing it. And women can abuse children everywhere too. Like,
yes, of
Absolutely.
course. It's
Yeah.
just not. It was surprising to me because it's not really, and the
Talked about that
context in
much.
which it was presented was like, the story was about a African man. I cannot remember what country that it was based in, but he was looking for a Western woman to like be his sugar mama, and he like fell in love with her, and then she wanted to come over to see him, but she couldn't get a visa because of this reason. So it was like a legitimate, quasi-legitimate thing, but he was
there's
all
a
about
it's a
it.
very
age
legitimate
gap.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
all about it, which is sort of, I think, I don't know. I don't know. It struck
It's
me. It was weird.
complicated. So there's this new secretary, this new like ambassador from the Indian government to Oroville. And they have made moves to develop around the town. And so some people in the community see this push as like ignoring the mother's original charter and going against the principles. And
She's not still alive, is she?
No.
To see all this stuff?
the mother left her body on November 17th, 1973. She left her earthly body.
Godspeed.
Later.
So
Later.
it's also like complicated because it was named after this Indian nationalist, and now there's like a Hindu nationalist government in India. So they're like, do we promote it? Do we not promote it? It's complicated. And then there are like some members of the town who are like, this is progress and this is part of the charter and we want to expand and we need to get younger people involved and get people housing so that they want to come here. And then there have been like demolitions by the government and people are getting manhandled and it's a fucking hot mess. It does not sound like a fun time.
Great.
So that's Oroville.
Wow. Redbacher.
If you want to have a job and buy property and also have no rights
Not by. You're not
I'm
buying.
good.
and get assaulted and not leave your and have a curfew essentially. And
I'm okay.
There's a
Yeah.
reason why utopia is a fantasy.
Mhm.
Because humans are the worst.
We as a species cannot have nice things.
Can't do it.
Pretty much.
No.
So that's my case.
Wow. Wild.
Wow.
Well done.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy when humans start inhabiting like other planets and there's
No.
this shit like on Mars.
Like from
No.
the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, the people
No.
that are going to get to Mars first are like the Elon fucking Musks.
The rich people who are
I
going to
mean,
make
thank
the
God
rules.
we will be-
bullshit from the beginning.
We'll be long dead. We'll
Yeah.
be long dead, thank God.
I don't know.
I do.
It's gonna happen
we
in
are
our
not,
lifetime.
No, it's not.
I'm not
we
going
are
to
not
Mars.
gonna see. No, we're not gonna see any kind of colonization
Even
of
if it
Mars
starts in our lifetime, it won't
not gonna see
affect
it.
us.
Nope.
No, but I
No.
think we'll see that shit and we will weep.
We'll be dead. All right, are you ready for my case?
So ready.
I mean, there isn't murder.
Okay.
Is or isn't?
Is not. But
Oh,
like,
I'm out.
bye. But if I get a chance to talk about like weird LSD shit, I'm gonna. So let's
Yeah.
go. Obvi, it was the 60s. And Obvi. And the summer of love was in full swing with full bush.
Oh, yeah.
God bless.
Full bush both on the face and the crotch. It was a very hairy time for America.
There was no meridian grooming back then.
Sorry,
None.
my phone keeps auto listening to me and typing what I'm saying, and I'm trying to get it to stop.
Full bush.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was in like a DM to a friend who just had a new baby, and I was like, oh my god,
Full bush.
stop typing what I'm saying. Full bush.
You
Full
are a
bush.
fully illustrated medical journal from 1974.
Congrats on your full bush. So in the early 60s, it wasn't just the FBI who were experimenting with hallucinogenic drugs. A Harvard research team led by Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert
Yeah,
were
baby.
blazing a trail toward a societal utopia guided by their inspiration, novelist Aldous Huxley.
Actually, a great
So
novelist.
60s.
Mm-hmm. I'm not.
Kind of a one-hit wonder, but
Kinda.
I mean, one hit wonder in the sense that.
But that hit.
The hit
the two hits that he's most famous for, but he definitely wrote a lot of shit. Like, next sentence here. If that name sounds familiar, it's because it is. He wrote Brave New World, as well as about 50 other books, novels, essays, and poems. He was a pacifist with a keen interest in philosophical mysticism, and while taking his own cocktail of mescaline, wrote of utopian societies thriving under the shared values of sexual experimentation, full bodily freedom, and transcendental religious quote-unquote experiences. So fucking hippie shit. So these Harvard nerds fell in love with this novel Island, which was the utopian follow-up to the dystopian Brave New World. And this work was their roadmap to a higher level of living. So more fucking hippie shit.
He wrote it while he was hallucinating.
Literally.
That's the way to write, though.
It honestly is.
Not the
Writing
way
is
to model
such a chore.
It's such a chore.
Oh my God,
Such a fucking chore. So mix fucking hippie shit with fucking Harvard, like, psych and science nerds, and you have a department with a budget playing around with, like, mushrooms and LSD and trying to open each other's fucking third brown eye. And nothing could possibly go wrong.
What a time to be alive.
We were born in the wrong era.
You have
We
all
really
the
were.
confidence of a college freshman at Harvard. All
of
the
a
budget.
mediocre white man who read fucking Island one time.
It is funny, though, how many times in my research for this, it was referenced like, yeah, these were good ideas when you were a college freshman.
Yup. This is the most college freshman shit
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And when you are a college freshman, you're kind of doing communal living.
Totally.
Yeah.
Again,
Totally.
WeWork documentary.
Mm-hmm.
There are no novel ideas ever
Yeah.
at all anymore.
Yeah. So when experimenting within the confines of the institution of Harvard proved too limiting for their research, Leary and Alpert launched the Zihuatanejo project. I'm so sorry.
Nailed it.
Zihuatanejo.
Zihuatanejo,
Zihuatanejo.
which was,
What's
according to
the problem?
What's your problem? Which was, according to the BBC, a psychedelic training center under the umbrella of their International Federation for Internal Freedom.
Isn't Zihuatanejo where Andy Dufresne and what's his name met at the end of Shawshank Redemption in Mexico?
It is in Mexico. Maybe that's where it is.
I'm
I've
Googling
never
it.
heard of it before, but maybe.
I'm
The community was located on the coast of Southwest Mexico, and it was here that they started like writing this manual called The Psychedelic Experience, a manual based on the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
I have a copy of that.
So do
Of course you do.
Well, Corey does, of course.
Their book was dedicated to Huxley and cites his 1954 essay, The Doors of Perception, which explored the hallucinogenic effects of mescaline, a psychedelic substance found in plants indigenous to Mexico. So they were like,
Have you ever done
in the place
mescaline?
where it's grown. I have not.
Have you?
I'm still
I
young.
haven't done any. I've like
I'm young,
compared
baby.
to
We're
you
going to
two.
Vegas in like 2 weeks. I'm gonna get us
1 week
some
from
mescaline.
today, honey.
Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a lot of time to
I
find
will
this
not be
mescaline.
doing
I gotta start
mescaline, but-
researching.
I
No.
thought you two might have, you degenerates.
You won't be doing mescaline.
I haven't done that
you
many
know
drugs.
of. I'm gonna dose Kenyon with mescaline. It's gonna be amazing.
Dose Kenyon.
Dose Kenyon.
Oh,
Dose
wait.
Kenyon.
Consent
Anyway.
is key. We're not condoning any of this.
We're joking.
But we're doing
Of course,
Dose
I would
Kenyon in
never wink dose Kenyon with mescaline. As the Tibetan Book of the Dead had prepared monks for mortality and reincarnation, the psychedelic experience would teach them how to handle the experience of ego death and rebirth. I hate it too, y'all. Hippie shit.
Vegas.
To
Ego
achieve-
death is. I think that's a real thing. That's a psychological thing.
For sure it is, but not what they are taking it to a stupid place.
Yes.
To achieve
There's also
this,
not like a fast track.
no.
No, you can't
They're
just do
white
a
boys.
bunch
They're
of
white
acid.
boys from Harvard who want to do a bunch of LSD and like get paid for it.
Yeah.
Like this is not. No. To achieve this full ego death and rebirth, the idea was to completely remove themselves from society and forge a new path forward through communal living. This was pretty fucking juicy for folks who were sick of the capitalist grind and wanting to like farm all day and fuck all night.
Sounds exhausting.
Hoe all
With
day and
my
hoe all
bad-
night.
Well, hoe all night. It's literally things that like only a college freshman has the fucking like stamina to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this operation had the attention of Huxley himself, legitimizing it all in the eyes of his hippie fans. Quote, to us, the island represented freedom, says Edward Padilla, an early member of the group. Before settling temporarily in southwest Mexico, many of the Brotherhood favored settling in Hawaii, while a friend of Padilla flew to the remote Pacific island of Micronesia to scout out territory. So they're also fucking colonizing. The British researcher Michael Hollingshead, who first introduced Leary to LSD at the recommendation of Huxley, even spoke to the King of Tonga about providing the Brotherhood with a home. So they're like trying to find their perfect island to recreate
And I hope the King of Tonga was like, go fuck yourselves.
Literally, he was like, nah, bye. Their location, however, would rely on full self-sustainability, so a remote island was not even really going to be the move because they didn't want to rely on like import and export to survive. They wanted to completely live off the land.
Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, you're not like that far off.
No. Indiana?
I mean, it's California, but it's like, I find this quite humorous personally. This project was getting out of fucking control, and Harvard was like, this is not what we thought this was going to be.
You guys were going to be doing like scientific research, not jetting off to Micronesia.
Harvard is still funding all of this at this point?
At this point, yes. But Brotherhood founding father Timothy Leary, who was like a doctor in psychology and he was a professor at Harvard, was fired by Harvard over the concerns about the experiments they were conducting as part of their studies. And I covered a lot of similar stuff in our CIA crimes episode, but they were basically doing the same shit, like experimenting on prisoners and underinformed, quote unquote, volunteers with LSD and other psychedelic drugs. And Leary had gotten so deep into his research, which included him and his colleagues just getting blasted on LSD, that he was failing to show up to like teach his classes and was finally just dumped from Harvard in 1963. They were like, fuck this, you're done, this project is over.
God.
Wasn't there a movie about this, like with George Clooney?
Probably.
The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yes.
Probably.
Is that this or different?
I don't know if it's this, but it's like all part of the same batch of like LSD time in the 60s.
It's a little bit different because remember I have told you my psychic, Charles Tiemann, psychic-light.com, used as a child was part of that project. Because they used psychic abilities. That was the whole point.
Well, there you go.
A little bit different, but yeah.
I'm sure it was a fictional movie, was it not? It was based on a book, but whatever.
I don't know. So now they're back from trying out growing and taking hallucinogenics in Mexico, and they're no longer under the umbrella of Harvard, so they can devote all of their time to building the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, which is their commune. So they officially start the Brotherhood of Eternal Love in the Modesca Canyon in Orange County, completely cut off from society, mere miles off the 15. Where they
are fucking everywhere, man. It's hard to get cut off.
It's hard to get away.
Mere miles off the 15.
It's take like the 404 to
it's literally between like the 15 and like the 245 or whatever the fuck it is.
Why are
like
highways in California
everywhere?
It's very annoying.
It's really obnoxious.
Yeah, it is, but that's what they call it. So they started their process of learning to grow their own food, make their own textiles and clothing, and even provide each other medical care and fucking like deliver babies on this commune. But living off the grid or adjacent to the grid and ignoring codes and regulations.
15 miles off the grid.
Barely. Not even 15 miles. That would be like way more. And ignoring codes and regulations can be a bit sketchy, as they learned pretty soon after their homemade chapel burned to the ground and took basically their entire commune with it and all of the work they had done.
Because of like bad wiring or whatever?
Pretty much.
Probably.
Like they just didn't build it right.
Turns out electrical engineering is kind of a specialty.
Uh-huh.
So is delivering babies.
Oh,
but
that's
the thing that freaks me out.
Since before time.
Oh, sure.
That's an instinctive thing.
If everything goes right.
Sure. But people were squatting in caves before they were wiring electric in a hand-built chapel.
Exactly.
So the chapel and religion in general was central to their operation. Though they rejected the traditional tenets of Christianity, they did believe in and worship a higher God, considered themselves disciples of said God, and believed LSD to be a, quote, sacrament, a window into God itself, a key to unlock the doors of perception.
It's just another
So obnoxious.
chemical, people.
Yeah, drugs are fucking awesome. No one is, like, arguing that.
It's
but,
just,
like, it's not a sacrament.
There's no just because it's natural, which I don't even know if LSD is.
No. I mean, psilocybin is, but LSD is
Not even,
it's
like,
not.
like, it's just another fucking chemical.
Mhm.
It makes you, like, hallucinate, but that doesn't mean that it's good.
No.
It is
Says
what
the
it
one
is.
who's never tried LSD.
Oh, shit.
I have no desire. Every time people describe like mushrooms or LSD, it is the antithesis of what I want in a drug.
Well, more for us.
You want to fall asleep for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to either fall asleep for a long time or like not have
Cocaine.
to sleep and like vacuum
Get
my
a
whole
load of
house.
cocaine.
Yeah. Literally cocaine.
Yeah, or like have a really
Fen.
fun time vacuuming my whole house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's the good stuff.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this may or may not have had anything to do with the fact that registering as a religious organization not only allowed you to skirt taxes, but also allowed you to seek, quote, religious exemption from prohibition.
Whoa.
So this is from allthat'sinteresting.com, one of my favorite sources. The Brotherhood's primary goal was to be able to distribute LSD to as many people as possible for as little money as they could manage.
Yeah.
California officially banned the substance in October of 1966, and a protest 3 months later in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park called the Human Be-In, I'm
Yeah.
gonna just kill people,
Yeah.
underscored the hippie resistance to the government's infringing on their psychedelic enlightenment. So basically, the use of LSD was shut down by the government at that time in California, but here it was being used as part of a religious practice. So these folks couldn't be hauled off to jail for using it, and it wasn't nationally criminalized yet.
Got it.
And honestly, we need to start a church. Like, we need to stop joking about it and actually do it, because, like, drugs and reproductive rights are tenets of my religion, so fuck off, and I'm not going to pay taxes.
Yeah, I'd love to get rich and do drugs and have reproductive freedom.
That'd be great. That'd be dope.
Literally, nothing is stopping us.
I know, we should just do it. But just because they were able to use LSD didn't mean they were able to just, like, blatantly make it. So they got shady and fucking made some epic shit. They created their own brand of LSD called Orange Sunshine, acquiring the necessary components through Afghanistan by way of Istanbul, Frankfurt, and London. This was a legitimate global smuggling operation.
Yeah.
That was essentially overlooked because the product was being used for religious purposes. They were giving this shit away mostly for free and funding it by also participating in the hashish trade. Hashish. Drugs would be shipped to... This is so fucking stupid and I love it. Drugs would be shipped to California hidden inside of musical instruments, Volkswagen buses, hollowed out surfboards.
Yeah.
Well, it's like too on brand.
It's California hippie shit. I cannot
Send
make
it
this
in
shit up.
Bibles. Why are you sending it in surfboards? They're already suspicious of
Bibles
you.
would be more suspicious than
It would be more
surfboards
suspicious
going to Southern
because-
California.
Well, not even just going to Southern California, but going specifically to this quote unquote religious organization because surfing was one of their religious practices in the Brotherhood. And they called it, quote, Christ in the curl.
I'm out.
I mean, I think this sounds rad. They're not taking it the Jesus part seriously.
It's not Jesus, but they are taking the God part pretty fucking seriously.
They just said
Like,
Christ in the curl. That is a
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and.
Yeah.
So they also, you'd love this, they also opened a spiritual center in Laguna Beach, a self-proclaimed psychedelic emporium called Mystic Arts World.
Ooh.
The shop served as a headquarters for their drug operations as well as their spiritual practices.
It is now known as the Magic Castle.
Probably. Starting in 1968, they began to distribute their signature Orange Sunshine for as little as 5 cents a tab, but they're basically giving it away.
Don't buy discount drugs.
Well, from these folks, you would want to because it's good stuff. One member put it succinctly, quote, "We weren't greedy. We just wanted people to get high." Those are your people to get drugs from.
Altruistic dealers, I guess. Yeah.
I
We
love
just
these
want you to have
guys.
a good time.
Like, where's the downside?
Corey
Honestly.
would have 1,000,000% been a part of this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would have been a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't surf, my God, but
No, me either. But the core strength, absolutely not. So they went to the... Yeah, I love swimming. They went to the East Coast. Okay. They went to the East Coast as well, opening the Center for the League of Spiritual Discovery in Greenwich Village in 1986, but 1968. Yeah, I wrote that wrong. In this center, Leary & Co. gave free TED Talks proselytizing about LSD.
Ted Leary talks.
Ted Leary Talks. Around the same time, LSD had been banned in California, and the fight was on to ban it nationwide. Leary was obviously opposed to that and made many public and TV appearances fighting against this growing call for legislation. But alas, big government won out, and LSD was officially criminalized nationwide in 1968. Leary made his way back west and to a small couples-only commune that they built on a ranch in Idlewild.
Nothing could go wrong.
Nothing could go wrong. Run by Leary and another Brotherhood founder, John Griggs, who by now were fully claiming themselves to be agents of God, born to, quote, lead a new breed. Blech.
Through Christ in the curl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we only have bad ad copy.
Yep. But God had other plans for Griggs, because at only 25 years old, he fucking died from shock of the century, an overdose of LSD.
You can die from an overdose of LSD. I mean, you can die from an overdose of anything.
You could die from an overdose
Yeah.
of weed. Like, you
Literally
could die from
anything can be toxic. It's just
water.
about the dose.
Yeah. In response to this tragedy, the Brotherhood didn't dial back their LSD production, but rather dialed it up, expanding their operation to produce, according to the BBC, 10 kilograms of LSD, or approximately 100 million doses.
That is
nuts.
so many
It's
doses.
so much.
That's how much
Yeah.
he took?
No,
Oh,
they were producing that.
Oh,
They
I
ramped
thought
up
that's
to
how
producing
he
that.
died.
There were like 100 million citizens in the U.S. at the time.
Yeah.
They could have given a tab of LSD to like every single American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of LSD.
It's a lot.
How many?
It is a lot.
How many LSD can
I
you
don't-
do
I
in
don't
one
know.
day?
I don't know.
I'm reading
It would
right
depend on
now.
your tolerance, probably.
A dose ranging from 50 to 200 micrograms is non-toxic and medically safe when used in a safe setting. A typical tab is usually 100 to 200 micrograms.
According to Michael Randall, a formative member of the Brotherhood, the plan was to drive down the price of LSD through mass production to distribute, quote, so much Orange Sunshine that it would become virtually free. We had a deep spiritual commitment to what we were doing.
They were just trying to saturate the market so everyone could have it for free.
Yeah, pretty much.
Love it.
This was continuing to get out of fucking hand, and the Brotherhood was now being seen as, honestly, what it was, a massive drug syndicate, and was coined the hippie mafia by the press.
Ah.
They had grown not only in numbers, but in political influence, and our boy Timothy Leary even ran against Ronald Reagan for governor of California in 1969. Obvi he lost, but the race was
That's
huge.
a shame. He would have been so much better.
I know, would have been so good.
He could have become president.
He could have been. But the race was big in the press and in pop culture, even inspiring the Beatles' hit Come Together. Leary continued to be an outspoken and influential person, and the government was not feeling great about that. In 1965, so we're kind of going back in time a little bit, he had been picked up for marijuana possession when he was found with weed coming back into the U.S. from their little commune in Mexico with his family. Thinking this was the opportunity to shut this dude down, he was arrested for possession and sentenced to 30 years in prison.
For weed?
Under the Marijuana Tax Act, which I can't go into
Yeah.
We've
all the
talked
details
about
of that.
It's bullshit.
He appealed this charge, however, claiming it to be unconstitutional, and actually won this appeal. And it had something to do with a requirement of self-incrimination under the Marijuana Tax Act that he didn't actually do. So he found a good loophole and ended up having that completely overturned a few years later.
Okay.
But a few years after this initial arrest, after returning to the West Coast from New York, so he was in Greenwich, he's back to Laguna Beach. He was arrested in Laguna Beach, this time because he had 2 fat joints on him. And Leary claimed that these were planted on him, which, like, honestly, that's not outside the realm of possibility. He's an LSD guy. He's not really a weed guy, but they really wanted to shut him down. And they had all of these strict criminalization rules around weed that they could fuck him up with. I can't confirm or deny whether or not it was planted on him, but it's not like, it's super plausible.
Yeah.
And despite his previous marijuana conviction being overturned, they got him on this one. So he was charged and awaited trial as he simultaneously tried to run for California governor. Bold move.
Trump.
Yeah, well,
seriously.
we got somebody facing 35 felony counts running for president. So
Yeah, exactly. After 2 years, so he's charged for the 2 joints in 1968. 2 years later, in 1970, he finally goes to court in January of 1970, and he's sentenced to 10 years for marijuana possession and another 10 years added for some separate charge from a few years earlier. So basically, 2 joints got him 20 years.
Jesus Christ.
But Leary was... I'd be...
0 for the 100 million doses of LSD.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Legislation hadn't caught up.
Well, and those are for religious practices.
Oh, yes.
So. But Leary was not going to go down easy and still had a lot of connections as the founder of the hippie mafia. One such connection was to the Weathermen, which was a leftist militant group founded at the University of Michigan by, quote, Students for a Democratic Society.
They were scary.
Yeah.
It's raining, man.
Weatherman.
The Weathermen were freaky.
According to Wikipedia, they believed the U.S. government to be imperialist and had the long-term objective of overthrowing the government. So they were a leftist terrorist organization. A few months after Leary was sent to prison, a member of the Weathermen acted as Leary's getaway driver in his escape from prison.
So many more people escape from prison than I ever realized.
Like everyone.
That's
I
like
guess.
my biggest takeaway from doing this podcast is that
Seriously.
like if you're sent to prison, like try to escape.
Just
like
leave.
It's like 50-50.
Not that
It
hard.
seems not that hard, yeah. Leary apparently snuck his way up and over a prison wall by like climbing a telephone wire.
A Spider-Man.
Yeah. His escape was a success, and he was eventually smuggled all the way to Algeria with his wife and kids. They hid out in Algeria for about a year before making their way to Switzerland, where arms dealer Michael Houchard offered to shelter them, but it turned out he was like just kind of imprisoning them, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay. Then they were kidnapped and
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Yada, yada, yada.
It got a little messy.
They ended up in an ashram in Pondicherry.
Pretty much. In 1972, the Nixon administration successfully convinced the Swiss government to imprison him, but they refused to extradite him back to the U.S. So they imprisoned him for like a hot minute, and then they were like, okay, we're done.
We're over it.
During this time, his wife left him and took the kids back to the U.S., and now single and ready to mingle, Leary
I love how she
blasted
was
on...
like,
Oh, you're in prison now?
Prison to
Algeria.
escape to Algeria to Switzerland prison, and then finally she was like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
This was the last straw. So single and ready to mingle Leary blasted on LSD and cocaine, married a Swiss socialite, and the two gallivanted around Europe before making their way to beautiful Afghanistan in 1972.
Actually, a good time. It's a good
It was
year
a
to be
pretty good
there.
They
time
were
to
kind
be
of
there, yeah.
thriving.
Right. Well, though Afghanistan did not have an extradition treaty with the U.S., that protection apparently didn't apply to just like international air travel. And the U.S. government was able to arrest Leary as soon as his plane landed in Kabul. So they'd been following him around for a while. Nobody would send him back to the U.S., but Afghanistan was like, listen, you can only get him while he's at the airport.
Yeah,
Then-
as soon as his feet touch the ground, then
Yep.
we're not.
Yep, then it's
okay.
not our thing anymore.
Wow.
He's traveling internationally. You can get him off the plane, but once he's done, not our problem. So they did get him. They take him back to California, where his bail was set at $5 million, and he was facing a nearly 100-year prison sentence. But being a white boy who went to Harvard, is pretty great because in the end, he was only given an additional 5 years.
Is this still
his
for the
escape.
2 joints? Or is this
Yes.
What?
Yes. Yes. And was sent to Folsom
The
Prison.
resources that went
I know.
into nailing this guy for 2 joints in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, in 1968
Yeah.
is when he first got picked up for that. So he was sent to Folsom Prison in California, where he was put in solitary in the cell right next to Charles Manson.
I knew that.
Yeah.
God, I knew
Quote,
his name was familiar, yeah.
They couldn't see each other, but they could chat through the bars.
Kill me. I'd
Quote, in
rather
their-
be dead.
I know, same. In their discussions, Manson was surprised and found it difficult to understand why Leary had given people LSD without trying to control them.
Or make any kind of profit.
Of money.
This
No.
wasn't about money at all.
Yeah,
It
which
really
is
wasn't.
the
It was
most
just
mind-blowing
like, okay,
part.
so you give
What
him
was
the
your
LSD,
end game?
and then exactly.
He didn't understand that the end game was literally spiritual enlightenment, and like that's it.
He's like, no.
At one point-
You
At
got
one
this all
point,
wrong.
Manson said to Leary, "They took you off the streets so that I could continue your work."
Oh.
Yeah. So
Manson
creepy.
is the worst.
He's so scary. So Leary fully switched sides and started working with the U.S. government as an informant, which shortened his sentence and allowed him to enter witness protection upon his release from prison in 1976.
Imagine
He served
trying
4
to
years.
live a normal suburban witness protection life as this guy, and then somebody
Back of
mentions
your
like
brain busted open from drugs.
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
mentions like, oh, it's spring, I gotta plant my poppies, and he's like, let me tell you about Kabul in 72. Oh wait,
Oh, wait.
Can I borrow a cup of sugar, Tim?
So, yeah, he served like 4 years for 2 joints and escaping prison and gallivanting all over the world and blah, blah, blah.
And then they granted him witness protection.
Yep. So, although he was like, hey, guys, hey, Brotherhood of Eternal Love, I was just bullshitting with the man to get out early. Like, I'm still one of you. Like, I'm cool. But his hippie colleagues were like, no, you're a cop informant and a liar. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
So his legacy had officially ended. He died in like 1996. I think he just kind of went off and,
Well, there's a
lived,
reason we don't
vibed.
know what happened to him.
Right.
I didn't
he was
realize
on witness protection.
I didn't know he went down like that.
he became an electrician and
Probably burned another church to the
got
ground.
really into foosball.
Oh my God.
He was
As
a born
for the
again
Brotherhood of Eternal Love, they had spent basically the entire decade of the 60s playing a major role in the 1960s counterculture movement and functioned as one of the largest drug smuggling operations of the era. But with founding fathers Timothy Leary being a fucking narc and John Griggs fucking blasted himself to death on LSD, those were like their 2 founding fathers and things fell apart without them. So, quote, John
The
Gale...
deadheads were dead and without a head.
pretty much.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, funny that you should say without a head.
What?
God.
What?
Quote, John Gale joined the Brotherhood of Eternal Love relatively early in its existence, but unlike the other initial members, he was not a true believer in their psychedelic spirituality. He was a surfer and a petty criminal who seemed more attracted to the group for the danger and excitement of their escapades. With the other bosses out, Gale took the reins, leaning all the way into the hippie mafia and away from spiritual enlightenment. So he was actually just trying to like sell fucking drugs.
He took
Yeah.
the reins and made it into money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Finally, on August 5th, 1972, state and federal officials conducted a series of raids on Brotherhood properties in multiple states. So like raiding all their communes across the country.
Oh my God.
Some core members managed to escape and avoid capture for several years, but eventually nearly dozens of members of the Brotherhood of Eternal Love were arrested and convicted of various drug-related offenses. Gale was one of the ones to wiggle away somehow, but he didn't walk away from drug dealing entirely and was still a major player in Los Angeles until he was busted in 1981 with over $7 million worth of cocaine ready to distribute.
Damn.
Shockingly, however, he never made it to court for this charge as he was fucking decapitated in a car accident before his court date.
Oh,
So not like offed, like it was an accident?
No, it was an accident. He died in a car accident.
destination.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. His capo was detated.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
His capo was detated. Jesus.
His capo was detated.
Christ.
Look at me having prophetic dreams.
Seriously. So,
Good.
and of course, by the 80s, LSD was kind of out and like Coke was super in.
Yeah.
So that
He was
finalized.
a trendsetter.
That really finalized the death of the Brotherhood of Eternal Love. And now it's just like a topic of folklore. It doesn't exist anymore.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
That was heavy, man.
Cool.
Fucking Christ of the Curl.
Christ
you know what
of
I'm
the Pearl.
saying? Fucking
Wow.
Christ and the Curl. Anyway, that's my
Well done.
Isn't that a wild ride?
I
like
knew
how
a
there
lot
were
of that,
parts
but
that
there
you
were
just
some
like
twists.
had to skip over, and then he married
There's
a
so
Swiss
much.
socialite.
Right, and that was the whole thing. You guys,
That was the whole thing.
this could be a 50 season podcast.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much shit to this Brotherhood of Eternal Love and like all the people that were part of it and all the offshoots of it. It was nuts. It was huge. It dominated the entire like zeitgeist of the 60s. It was crazy.
It was he redirected the culture of our country.
1,000%. Yeah, absolutely.
Ugh.
Like almost single-handedly. It was so
As
fucking
does-
wild.
amazing.
fan picker Jordan Wilson.
Has
You
indeed.
have redirected the zeitgeist of this episode. Thank you, Jordan, and thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.